Okay, this video just briefly reviews how to do a graph of your frequency table. As I mentioned last night, we want to get this into a format that is user-friendly for a person when you're looking at your memo. So as I noted last night, go to Graphs, click on, or actually drag down to where it says Legacy Dialogues, and we're going to do a simple bar graph. So you'll click on Simple. Make sure that Summary for Groups of Cases is on, and then click Define. And then before you pick your variable, make sure that we want to report the percent, not the raw count, the percent. And then select your variable. In my case, it was most serious injury, and you can sometimes just wait and then wait for your variable number to come up. And as I noted last night, you're going to want that to be your category axis. And I showed you last night the two dimensions of the graph. So the category axis is what's going to go along the bottom of the graph. And on the left side of the graph, which is the y-axis, it's going to show you the percent of firefighters that sustain most serious injuries. Before you do anything else, you also want to label your graph. So again, give it a graph, say graph 1, colon, and then give it a title. In this case, for the sake of parsimony, I'm just going to go serious injury sustained by firefighters. You know, try to make your titles short, but make them informative. So, as I noted last night, the protocol is always number your graph, graph 1, colon, and then give it your title. And then click Continue. And then you're pretty much ready to go. And then click OK. And your output window will show you the graph. Here's the graph right here. And then, as I note, and here's our title. Here's the percent of firefighters over here. And then we want to do some brief edits to the graph, as I said last night. So, you know, we want to label the bars so that if someone looks at it, they know what percent of firefighters. This way they don't have to guess when looking at it. So double-click on your graph. Just double-click on it, and a chart editor will come up. And then when you want to label your bars, go over here to this little target, click on that, and then just go to the bar and then click your mouse, go to the next bar, click your mouse, and straight on through. And there you will have your bars numbered by percent. And then you're pretty much ready to go. There's a couple of other things that I didn't mention last night. You know, you can give your bars some shadows. I think when you come over here, when you bounce back and forth between the chart editor, okay, and you want to go back to your graph, just close it. And what you did in your editor will actually appear on the graph. There's other things you can do too, and again, this is totally up to you. But for example, if you wanted to do something to the bars, like sometimes you know, if you just go back into the graph, not to complicate this, but I just want to show you an added feature. Once you label your bars using the percents, you can then just go to any bar and double click on it, and then your chart editor will come up, and then double click again and see where your bars are highlighted. If you wanted to, you know, put shadows on your boxes, on your bars, you could do that. It's just, I like to do it sometimes because it just draws attention to the table, and then do away with just do away with the editor bar, and what you did in the editor bar will show up. And that's really it. It's just learning how to double click between the chart editor and your graph. And then when you're done, you want to check to make sure that you have your label, your graph one. You want to make sure that at the bottom, which is the bottom portion of the table, has the label of the variable, and then here's the categories of your variable. So as I noted last night, start with the big and go small. So you can see that a little over half of firefighters who were injured sustained smoke inhalation, followed by fractures and bruises. And that's essentially what the trend is showing us. Then the next thing is to save it into a Word file. So if you want to save it into a Word file, then you can just simply cut it and go into Word. Just get this out of here, and then you can paste it, and it'll come into Word. And then just save it. If you're in the computer lab, if you want to save it as PAD 715 graph, just something that and then email it to yourself, and then you could go ahead and then start working on your discussion item topic. And what you could do is, once you get it into the Word file, you could start your narrative down here, or you could insert a page before it, but we'll work on the details of that later. So that's the review of doing a graph. Any questions, either email me or call me.